Kicking off the count tonight is story number 10, Trump indictments. Former President Trump was arraigned in a D.C. federal court on Thursday. It's the latest attempt by the Biden administration to defeat their likely 2024 political rival anywhere but at the ballot box. Trump's charged with supposedly subverting the transfer of power based on his belief that the election was stolen from him. And shortly after his indictment on Thursday, our 45th president spoke to reporters. Take a listen.
When you look at what's happening, this is a persecution of a political opponent. This was never supposed to happen in America. This is the persecution of the person that's leading by very, very substantial numbers in the Republican primary and leading Biden by a lot. So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him. We can't let this happen in America.
Joining us to discuss is a former professor at Harvard Law School for 50 years. He's also the author of many, many books, including this best-selling book, Get Trump. Professor Alan Dershowitz, welcome to the count, sir.
Well, thank you. You know, I've written many books, but on Martha's Vineyard, they're having a book fair today for local authors, and I've been banned because I defended Trump. I wrote more books than anybody in the history of Martha's Vineyard, but they won't have me because they don't like the fact that I defended Donald Trump. So McCarthyism is spreading. I was banned from the library. I was banned from the community center. I've been banned from the local synagogue. And now I'm banned from the book fair. We call it the book unfair.
And wasn't it Martha's Vineyard where they turned away all of the illegal migrants when they showed up by the busload? Speaking and staying on Trump, do you believe that he is being politically persecuted? Isn't Lady Justice supposed to have a blindfold on for a reason? Yet it seems like they're specifically going after him because he's Donald Trump and that he's running for president of the United States.
Well, you know, the Torah, the Jewish Bible, gives judges two instructions. One, don't take bribes, obviously. The other is lo takir punim, don't recognize faces. Don't ever do justice based on who the person is. Always do justice based on the equal protection of the law. I have no doubt that if Donald Trump were not in the polls, were not neck and neck or leading in the polls, they would not be going after him. Look, we now know that in April of 2022, there were newspaper reports saying that President Biden was mad at Garland for acting too much like a judge and not enough like a zealous prosecutor. So when you have the president essentially sending a message to his attorney general, and then the attorney general appointing a special prosecutor and going after him on charges that aren't warranted when you're going after the man who's running against the president. So no, I think that this is selective prosecution. I don't think these cases are strong enough to satisfy what I call the Richard Nixon standard. Nixon prosecuted and was threatened with impeachment and had to be pardoned only because members of his own party, people across the political spectrum, knew he had committed crimes. That isn't true today. People are very divided over that issue. There's a plausible case, obviously down in Florida, where he waived a classified document. But is that strong enough to prosecute a man running for president when others who have had classified material are not prosecuted? So, you know, as an anti-Trump voter, as somebody who voted against him twice, intends to vote against him for the third time, and as a civil libertarian and a liberal and a Democrat, I am very dissatisfied with the way this prosecution is going.
Professor Dershowitz, talk to me about the judge overseeing this latest indictment, Tanya Chutkan. She's an Obama appointee who previously worked at the same law firm as Hunter Biden. This is a very, very liberal law firm, right? And she's also known for handing out punishments to the January 6th protesters that were even more severe than what the Department of Justice even asked for. So do you think she should recuse herself?
Of course she should. The motto of this law firm, this is one of the most corrupt law firms in American history. The motto of this law firm essentially is conflicts of interest. They have been charged with more conflicts of interest than any firm, large firm that I know of. There was a case some years ago where the chief judge of the New York District Court said the conflict was so clear that even a first-year student would see it. I think the conflict here is clear as well. Here you have a person who defended and who was a partner of in a firm that defended Hunter Hunter Biden, no, I don't think she should be in the case. Look, this is one of the most controversial criminal cases in American history, and it ought to be above reproach. The case ought to be moved out of the District of Columbia, where 95% of the voters are anti-Trump. It ought to be taken away from this judge and moved to a judge who doesn't have a record, doesn't have a history with Trump, with Biden, with sentencing people harshly on January 6th. The appearance of justice in this case is crucially important. And I have to tell you, again, as a liberal Democrat, I'm not satisfied that justice will be done in this case in the District of Columbia in front of this judge. And I imagine that many, many others, independents, Republicans, centrists, others, would not be satisfied with the verdict granted in the District of Columbia by this judge. No.
Professor Dershowitz, real quick, she says she was chosen at random. Do you buy that?
Oh, yes, she was chosen at random.
Really? Okay.
Else could have been chosen at random. Sometimes you choose people at random who are the wrong choices. That's why we have motions for recusal. Okay. Remember that a lot of the people on the other side are saying the judge in Florida should be recused, even though she was chosen at random because she was appointed by Trump. You just can't have it both ways. You can't say one should be and the other should. She should be recused. I have no doubt about that.
All right, Professor Dershowitz, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.